Hello. Welcome to the live stream. I'll wait for some other people to join. Is there anyone there? Say hello. I'm not sure if that's just me. Doing it myself. Probably give it 5 minutes. Thanks for joining if you're there. Appreciate it. I'd love to know what you thought of the ad. What made you click on it? All right, I'm just going to do it. Let's go. So, none of you are disciplined. None of you have what it takes to achieve greatness as you are right now. How do I know? You're viewing this webinar. But it's not to say that you can't have what it takes in the future. All you have to do is to take control of yourself, your habits, to take control of yourself and hack your habits both physically and mentally. That's what this webinar is about. It's about controlling yourself and dissecting your habits so that you can achieve greatness, or maybe just small things that you want to achieve in everyday life. There's one thing I'm going to continuously say throughout this webinar, and that's to focus on one habit at a time. It's so important you do that. If you focus on more than one, you're going to end up not solidifying any of them. You're going to fail on all of them. So one at a time is really important. And then maybe as you start to really figure it out, you can try 2 at a time. I really recommend just focusing on 1 at a time. So who am I? Why listen to me? My name is JP Taxman. I'm a designer, both graphic and user experience designer. I love to build things. I love cracking jokes. I love hanging out with friends. On top of that, I run a podcast called Out of the Cave, which is about reimagining what society can be if given a fresh start. So on it, I examine what it would be like if we started from scratch and got an island or built a seastead and created the different systems, both economic, or not both, but economic, the governmental, the educational, the entire infrastructure and technology systems. What would the society look like and how would it operate if we were to do that? I have a couple of about 16 or 17 episodes up. You can find it on anywhere that podcasts are. Aside from that, I just am passionate about improving myself and bettering myself, and I'm constantly looking for different ways to do that and implement different systems and techniques into my life to achieve the things I'm trying to achieve. And that all starts with habits. So I think the best place to start off is, what is a habit and what is the habit cycle? I learned a lot of this through the book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, which is phenomenal. And in there, he talks about the habit cycle, which starts with, which is 3 parts. There's a cue, there's a routine, and then there's a reward. And as an example, I'm going to use building the habit of going out and approaching women. That's something I put a lot of effort into getting better at because I like talking to and meeting women, and that's something I'm always trying to get better at and building better habits around that. So in the approach, right, my typical habit at the moment is the cue, right? My cue is I see the woman and the signal goes off that I find her attractive, right? And then the routine is that I start thinking about what to do or what to say. And then I get into a loop of overthinking it typically. And then my reward is, if I go, I get the reward of actually doing the thing, and then I feel really good about it after. But if I don't, I get the reward of getting to be comfortable and not having to go through and feel rejection, right? So how might I change this habit loop? Well, I could start off with the cue is probably going to be the same, because it's seeing an attractive woman and identifying that she's what I find attractive. So that's the cue. Now the routine is what I need to change. Instead of thinking about what to say, I need to take the first step and go start walking towards it. And that should be the next piece of the routine. And then I should just have to figure out what to say while I'm walking up to her. And then my reward, I can change the reward. Instead of just being kind of intrinsic and I get to feel good about approaching her, I can make it that I get to, for every girl I approach, maybe I get to eat a cupcake, because I love using cupcakes as rewards. I try not to eat sugars too much, but using it as a reward for things like this usually pans out really well. So that's what a habit cycle is, and using that can really help you get out of certain loops that aren't serving you in the way that you'd like them to serve you. Something you might need to do a lot is reset. And I'm going to talk about this when we go through in a minute, going over morning routines. So sometimes you're trying a habit out and you're trying to do it every day, but you fail and you don't actually do it. And that's fine. That's going to happen. You're likely going to get upset with yourself. I typically do a lot when I am pursuing changing a habit, and I slip and I ended up doing that thing I told myself I wasn't going to do. But it's good just to know that you can reset. So you can say, all right, I did that. We're just going to wipe the slate clean and we're going to try again. Now, in doing this, I do recommend punishing yourself in some way for slipping up, because then it prevents you from hopefully slipping up the next time when you know there's some kind of consequence. Reward and consequences, I think you should use both in developing habits. They help tremendously because it helps you stay excited. And for some people, that's really what they need. But then if you have a punishment, it helps you also make sure you stick with doing the thing. And punishments, if sometimes you don't punish yourself, so it's good to have a friend hold you accountable that will dish out your punishment. Maybe it's just like making a bet with a friend where if you do the thing, they give you money, and if you don't do the thing, you give them money. That's a really good technique that a friend of mine uses, Manish Saheti. He runs the company Pavlok, and that's another good little tool I would use, the Pavlok, which you can shock yourself as a punishment for not doing a thing. It's a great habit builder. So how do you actually create a morning routine? It's pretty simple. You start again with one at a time. But first, before you start actually trying to do your morning routine, I'd recommend building it out. So I built mine out in a flow chart that says I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. So then I know that's what I want my morning routine to be. And that looks daunting. And I've tried it a lot of times, but it allows me to also rearrange and see like what really fits where, and then I can move things later. So once you have it, your kind of plan figured out, you just start with the first piece that you want. So I'm just going to go through what mine is and how I built mine out. And will give you an idea of maybe what some of the things you might want in yours. And maybe you want some other different things that you like maybe you like to read first thing in the morning. Or maybe you like to meditate, and I use a piece I'll get into that. So for me, the first thing I want to do when I get up in the morning is make my bed, because I heard that's a good habit to get into. A lot of Navy SEALs use it. A lot of really successful people will say it's like that's the one thing you can do every day, where like you start with a win, you come back to like understanding that win that was there. So making your bed, I try to do that every morning. So that's where I start. I say for a week, that's one thing I'm going to make sure I do every morning is just make my bed. I try to do it every day for that week. So I'll get up, get over, make the bed, and then I'm good. And then that's the first thing I do for a week. And then the next week comes around and I make sure, okay, what's the next thing in my morning routine that I want to implement? And then I put the second thing in there. And in this case, the second thing is to drink some water and take a probiotic. So then next week, it's make the bed, go to the refrigerator, drink some water, and take the probiotic. From there, it's on to the third thing, the third week, which is to do some rope dart practice, which I was kind of telling you about earlier. That's kind of my meditation. It's repetitive, it's meditative, and I just do my rope dart practice. And then the fourth week for me is to do listen to my reprogramming exercise, which is me telling myself what I would need to believe while I do the rope dart. So then that gets added in on the fourth week. And then the fifth week, it's to do a workout after I do the rope dart. So I'll work out for a week, and there's a build up to all these things. They all compound on each other. So like as you're doing them every week, then after you've been doing like the 4 weeks of the making your bed, now you have 4 weeks compounded of a habit getting ingrained. It usually takes a month for it to be like a solidly ingrained habit, but this allows you to do it faster over time with more habits, right? Maybe for you find that doesn't work. So you need to do a full month of each habit to really get the routine down, which is fine. Really, it's about making this work for you. You don't have to follow my technique verbatim. So going along with my morning routine, I do workout and then I stretch after the workout. And then once I'm done stretching, and typically while I'm stretching, I'm watching some kind of video. Hopefully, typically it's educational. It's maybe a podcast or something while I'm stretching to keep me occupied. Although that's a habit I'm kind of trying to break, is not doing that as much, because I'll get through the routine faster. And then once I'm done stretching, I go over and I eat, and then I come back and I eat while I watch some more videos. Once I'm done eating, it's take a shower, and I've got that whole system kind of in an interesting loop where I pretty much get ready completely in the shower, so I can just get out, dry off, dress, and then I can go about my day. So that's the essentials, really, to create a really solid morning routine. And it's just focusing on one piece at a time. And if you do that effectively, then you can essentially create any type of morning routine you want and stick to it. Now, again, going through this, you may need a reset, like I was telling you earlier. I know for me, like if I go on a vacation, or if like I just get down on myself and I just stop doing everything for a week, or I miss a couple here and there and I get some of it, then it's just all shut to hell. And I'm actually in the process of resetting again. So I'm just going again, week by week, back through getting it back in line. So I'm like, this week I'm back on to just make my bed and then drinking water every morning. And then the week after that, it's going to be, drink bed, drink water, rope dart. So, you'll mess up, and that's okay. And it's just about continuing on and getting better. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you're just doing it so much you don't think. And that's the idea, of creating a fluid morning experience. If you're constantly going through the process, you'll get through it. You'll just fly through your day. You won't be thinking about having to do like, oh, I have to do this now, I have to do this now, I have to do this now. You'll just go from one task to the next, and you'll be able to pretty much think about the rest of your day while you're doing that. That's one thing I also do want to add into mine, is planning my day out before I go about my day. So there's a thing you can add into your morning routine that I'm actually selling, which is a nighttime form. I call it the nighttime form, but you can use it in the morning, but you can use it also at night. It's a good habit to do, which is I do it every night. It's part of my nighttime routine. And I just go through it. It lets me evaluate how I felt for the day. It lets me evaluate how enjoyable that day was for me. It allows me to collect data in my life. I aggregate questions from it. I journal in the form, and then I can just go and access that, and it's always available, and I can see how I was doing over different courses of different months. Along with that, there's two other forms that it comes with. There's a nighttime or problem-solving form, which allows you to more effectively solve problems in your lives using pointed questions, and allows you to help see problems from different perspectives, so you can not get stuck in the loop of just falling into the same problems over and over. You can actually solve problems that are afflicting your life. And then the last form is a decision-making form, which helps you make more effective and efficient decisions, especially around with taking into consideration your cognitive biases, which affect all of us. So it helps you like really look at those, make sure that those aren't affecting the decision you're making. So check those out. I'll share the link here, and it'll be in the show notes. So give that a look and maybe use it. It's added a tremendous amount of value to my life, and I hope it can do the same for you. And I hope you enjoyed this first webinar.